The tension in Philadelphia didn't start overnight. It didn't begin with a bad game, a missed read, or a forgotten route. It built slowly, quietly, like a storm forming in the distance, and A.J. Brown was right at the center of it. For 2 straight seasons, he was one of the most unstoppable forces in the NFL. A mismatch nightmare, a yards-after-catch bully, the kind of receiver who changes defensive game plans the second he walks onto the field. But this season, something shifted, and people around the league noticed it immediately. Reports claim Brown felt like an afterthought in stretches of the offense. Fans picked up on it too: long stretches without targets, visible frustration, sideline conversations that didn't look casual at all. Rumors suggest the communication between him and the coaching staff hasn't been the smoothest. And when a player of his caliber starts expressing even an ounce of dissatisfaction, the league pays attention. Why? Because elite receivers rarely hide how they feel. They can't. They're too involved, too important, and too vocal to keep that energy bottled up. Then came the moment everyone saw: the live stream. No filters, no media training, no edited quotes, just A.J. Brown speaking like a man who's been carrying around irritation for far too long. "My family's good, but everything else." No, that wasn't a joke. That wasn't banter. That was the sound of a superstar hinting that something in Philly isn't working for him anymore. And when he doubled down, saying he wasn't apologizing for anything because, if you have eyes, you could see. It was obvious the frustration wasn't manufactured. It was real. Philadelphia tried smoothing things out by forcing targets his way in the following weeks, but even that felt reactive, temporary, like a team trying to stop a leak with tape. And while the production ticked upward, the long-term situation remained the same. A star wide receiver who looks, sounds, and plays like someone who knows he deserves more. Here's the part the league isn't saying out loud: when elite players start dropping hints, trades don't happen instantly. They simmer, they grow, they become unavoidable. And A.J. Brown's situation feels exactly like that. Everything in Philly points to a player who's mentally checked out, emotionally exhausted, and fully aware that his next chapter might need to happen somewhere else. If you had said 2 years ago that elite receivers would be circling the Browns as a potential landing spot, people would have laughed. Cleveland wasn't known for star-powered offenses. They weren't known for aggressive front office moves, and they definitely weren't known for elevating wide receivers. But that reputation has flipped completely, and it's because the Browns quietly built something dangerous. A front office that refuses to sit still, and a young quarterback who, rumors suggest, has already earned the respect of NFL veterans without taking a single regular season snap. This is where Shador Sanders changes everything. The Browns didn't draft him to compete. They drafted him to transform the franchise. And despite what some analysts claim, the organization is already making moves that show exactly how serious they are about giving him the weapons he needs. You don't pull offensive linemen off practice squads, retool protections, overhaul the playbook, and restructure positional rooms unless you're all in on your rookie quarterback's development. And now, with the A.J. Brown situation bubbling, Cleveland finds itself in a position very few teams can match. They have multiple first-round picks. They have a general manager who doesn't hesitate when it's time to swing big. And they have an offense that desperately needs a true WR1, not a potential breakout guy, not a maybe he'll develop, but a proven, certified #1 target who instantly changes the entire identity of the team. Here, what makes it even more interesting: A.J. Brown fits every hole Cleveland has been trying to fill. He's physical enough to win contested catches. He's fast enough to punish defenses who blitz. And he's experienced enough to anchor a young quarterback stepping into a league where mistakes get magnified instantly. Pair him with Shador, and suddenly defenses can't just sell out to stop the rookie. They can't overload the box. They can't force him into easy, predictable throws. Because ignoring A.J. Brown is the fastest way to lose a football game. Behind the scenes, some executives reportedly believe the Browns are the exact type of team that could go bold if the opportunity appears. The window is open, wide open, and the front office knows it. A star receiver looking for a fresh start, a hungry franchise looking for a real offensive identity, and a rookie quarterback whose potential is already becoming a league-wide conversation. Everything points to a perfect storm forming. And what happens next might shock everyone watching. A.J. Brown isn't just another frustrated wide receiver. He's one of the few players in the league whose emotions carry weight because his production backs every word he says. And when a player of his caliber starts sounding off across multiple platforms, Twitch streams, Instagram captions, casual comments that don't sound so casual, executives notice. Fans notice. And teams desperate for a true WR1 definitely notice. The situation in Philadelphia hasn't been quiet, far from it. Reports claim Brown has felt underused for weeks, and the mid-season tension was obvious enough that even broadcasters were hinting at it during live coverage. When he told fans to get rid of me in fantasy, people laughed. When he kept bringing up targets and usage, people started listening. But when he went on a stream and flat out said, "Everything else is bad," the conversation changed completely. That wasn't a joke. That wasn't a throwaway emotional outburst. That was a rare, honest moment from a star who felt boxed in. And once a WR1 feels boxed in, history tells us one thing: change is coming. Rumors suggest the Eagles could explore a move purely because keeping a frustrated star becomes a bigger headache every week. Not because Brown isn't elite, he absolutely is, but because the relationship feels like it's reaching a breaking point. He's too talented to be a decoy, too explosive to be a second thought, and too competitive to accept anything less than being fully utilized. That's why this rumor is blowing up across the league. When you combine a frustrated superstar with a franchise desperate to reshape its offense, the trade machine starts spinning fast, and the timing is perfect. Cleveland has picks, they have cap flexibility, they have a need, and most importantly, they have a young quarterback who would instantly make Brown feel valued. When a receiver starts thinking about legacy, about proving something, about reminding the league who he is, pairing him with a rising star like Shador becomes a story too big to ignore. It gives Brown a fresh start. It gives Cleveland a real weapon. It gives Sanders a target who wins on every level of the field. The league has seen this story before. A superstar grows tired of being overlooked, and the next thing you know, he's dominating somewhere else. But this situation, it's uniquely volatile, and the next development might take this rumor from interesting idea to breaking news. If there's one thing the Browns have proven over the past several years, it's that they don't hesitate when it comes to chasing star power. While other franchises sit back and preach patience or development, Cleveland has repeatedly jumped into the deep end with blockbuster moves, and that pattern matters now more than ever. Look at the recent history: Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy. Whether the moves worked or not is a separate conversation, but the intention behind them was loud and clear. The Browns believe elite receivers can speed up the path to relevance, and with a rookie quarterback who already has a national spotlight on him, that belief becomes even stronger. Now here, where this story pivots, because this situation with A.J. Brown isn't like the others. Those previous acquisitions were big names, sure, but none of them came with the combination of production, physicality, and sustained dominance that Brown brings. Odell was coming off injuries. Jeudy was based on potential. Cooper was an undervalued asset. A.J. Brown, he's a certified top-tier weapon with numbers that speak for themselves. Bringing him to Cleveland isn't a gamble, it's a statement. And the timing couldn't be better. The Browns finally have something they haven't had in decades: a young QB with massive upside, and a front office aligned behind him. Reports claim Sanders is already earning high marks from coaches for poise, command, and decision-making. If the Browns are going to go all in on building around him, they need reliability. Someone who can bail him out on broken plays, win one-on-ones, and punish defensive coordinators who try to overwhelm a rookie. That's A.J. Brown to a T. But here's the twist. Philadelphia isn't in a quiet rebuild. They're in a transitional moment. They're trying to reset financially. They're recalibrating their offensive identity. And when a star player's frustration becomes public, organizations sometimes decide the best solution is a clean split. It's not personal, it's business. A $20 million cap hit before June 1 might sound steep, but execs know the long-term gain could be worth it if they can maximize flexibility moving forward. And if that split happens, Andrew Berry is absolutely the type of GM who pounces instantly. This isn't just another rumor, it's a crossroads. Cleveland's history of big trades means they're one of the few teams bold enough to act. And this time, the move aligns perfectly with need, timing, and opportunity. The pieces are lining up, and the next section is where this story gets explosive. Every blockbuster trade begins with one question: what would it take? And when it comes to prying a superstar like A.J. Brown away from Philadelphia, the answer isn't cheap, but it's absolutely within reach for the Browns. The key is understanding what both sides want, what both sides fear, and what both sides can realistically afford to lose. Let's start with Philly. Reports claim the Eagles won't even entertain a conversation unless a first-round pick is involved. That's not speculation, that's league-wide expectation. Brown is in his prime under contract and producing, so if a team wants him, they need to show they're serious. But here, where Cleveland quietly becomes one of the few organizations with leverage, they have multiple first-rounders, they have roster pieces who could ease the loss, and they have a GM who's never been afraid to package players with picks to sweeten a deal. That's why a package involving the Jacksonville first-rounder and Jerry Jeudy suddenly makes sense. Jeudy isn't a WR1 in Cleveland, that much is clear now. But to a team like the Eagles, who already have Devonta Smith as the primary target, Jeudy becomes a perfect secondary option. He's talented, young, inexpensive, and capable of thriving when he's not asked to carry the entire passing attack. Pair him with a first-round pick, and you've built a deal that checks every box: a replacement receiver, a premium asset, and cap flexibility. But for Cleveland, the upside is massive. Imagine Shador Sanders stepping into an offense with A.J. Brown as his primary weapon. Suddenly, defensive coordinators can't blitz as aggressively. They can't drop 8 into coverage. They can't force the rookie into panic throws. Because Brown is the type of receiver who changes everything: spacing, tempo, play design, red zone efficiency, even confidence. That's the trade the Browns need, and it's the trade that would instantly shift the AFC landscape. You go from a team hoping their rookie quarterback can grow, to a team expecting a playoff run. This isn't fantasy. It's a realistic path if the Eagles choose to move on and the Browns decide to pay the price. And the more A.J. Brown hints at frustration, the more likely a blockbuster becomes. But there's another angle that could accelerate this entire situation, and it's tied directly to what Brown has been saying publicly. When a superstar starts speaking from emotion instead of PR scripts, the league listens. And A.J. Brown hasn't just cracked the door open, he's practically waving a flashlight through it. Every interview, every clipped quote, every frustrated Twitch stream has carried one clear message: he's not happy in Philadelphia. And when a true WR1 reaches that point, front offices understand what usually comes next. Let's break down why these public signals matter so much. First, Brown didn't just hint at frustration. He said it outright, repeatedly. Using me but not using me. Everything else is bad. If you've got me in fantasy, get rid of me. Those aren't random jokes or heat-of-the-moment comments. Those are breadcrumbs, and the league follows breadcrumbs carefully. When a receiver of his caliber speaks like that, executives see it as an invitation, a sign that the relationship between player and team is cracked, maybe beyond repair. Second, Brown didn't walk any of it back. That's the part that raised eyebrows. Most players hit the brakes once reporters jump in. They smooth things over, talk about misunderstanding, or blame the moment. Brown doubled down instead. He made it clear he wasn't apologizing because he wasn't lying. He wasn't attacking teammates, but he wasn't hiding his frustrations either. That honesty carries weight because stars usually only go public when behind-the-scenes conversations aren't fixing anything. And third, this isn't a one-week meltdown. It's a pattern. Weeks of feeling underused. Weeks of reporters asking the same question. Weeks of him acknowledging that something's off. For a player who has produced every single year of his career, a drop in targets is more than a stat issue, it's a respect issue. And when respect feels inconsistent, trades become very real possibilities. All of this paints a picture the Browns' front office can't ignore. Shador Sanders needs a dominant receiver. A.J. Brown wants to be valued again. Philadelphia might be heading toward a reset. The moment those three realities overlap, trade conversations heat up fast, and the rumblings around the league suggest they already have. But this saga isn't just about frustration or usage. There's another layer lurking beneath the surface, one that could push this situation from rumor to inevitable outcome. Every blockbuster rumor has the public story, and then the real story underneath it. And when you look closely at the A.J. Brown situation, the real story becomes almost impossible to ignore. It's not just about targets. It's not just about frustration. It's not even just about tension between him and the Eagles' system. The deeper issue is timing, and timing in the NFL is everything. Philadelphia is entering a transition phase, whether they admit it publicly or not. Reports suggest the front office is reevaluating contracts, restructuring identities, and preparing to build around younger pieces before their cap situation tightens even more. When a team hits that crossroad, they start asking difficult questions. Who do we keep? Who's replaceable? Who fits our future system? Who brings the most value in a trade? And when you're talking about maximizing return, a star wide receiver still in his prime becomes a massive trade chip. That's where the Browns come in, because their timeline is the exact opposite. Cleveland is on the ascent. They have a rookie quarterback with momentum and national attention. They have a defense capable of competing right now. And they're only a handful of offensive upgrades away from being a legitimate playoff team. When your trajectory is pointing up, you don't wait 3 years for a draft pick to develop. You go after proven talent. You go after players who change your offense instantly. You go after someone like A.J. Brown. This is why the match fits so perfectly. Both teams needs align with what the other can offer. Philadelphia gets draft capital, cap relief, and a receiver they can retool around. Cleveland gets a dominant WR1 who elevates their quarterback immediately. Brown gets an environment where he isn't fighting for touches, where he isn't overshadowed, and where he can help shape the identity of a rising offense. It's not just a rumor. It's a rare win-win scenario sitting there, waiting for the right GM to pull the trigger. But here's the part most people aren't talking about. If the Browns don't make a move like this, they risk wasting the early years of Sanders' rookie contract, the most valuable window any franchise can have. The NFL is built around rookie QB windows. Championships, dynasties, and title pushes start there. This move would accelerate Cleveland's rebuild faster than anything else on the table. And that's why this situation feels less like speculation and more like the calm before something big happens. If there's one thing the NFL has taught us, it's that the biggest shifts often start with the smallest cracks. A frustrated comment, a sideline moment, a change in energy that everyone feels but nobody names. A.J. Brown's situation has all the signs of one of those turning points, the kind that begins with a whisper and ends with a headline that shakes the league. For the Browns, this isn't just another rumor floating through the offseason. It's an opportunity, a chance to give Shador Sanders something every young quarterback needs but rarely gets, a true top-tier wide receiver who can win anywhere on the field and demand respect from every defensive coordinator he faces. That type of player doesn't just help an offense, he transforms it. And for Brown, This could be the fresh start he's clearly been craving. A place where he isn't fighting for touches, where his talent isn't overshadowed, and where his production speaks louder than anything else happening around him. Pair him with a rising quarterback, an aggressive front office, and a city hungry for a real contender, and suddenly the path forward becomes a whole lot clearer. Whether the Browns pull the trigger or not, one thing is certain. This rumor isn't fatting anytime soon. It's gaining momentum, gathering weight, and turning into a conversation the league can't ignore. Sometimes the stars align. Sometimes the timing is perfect. And sometimes, a franchise-changing move is sitting right there, waiting for someone bold enough to make it real. If Cleveland decides to be that team, the entire AFC might never look the same again.